All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us for tonight's team call. It's March 12th. A few announcements for tonight. Obviously, most of you guys know the Ultimate Portion Fix is now available for current coaches and new customers. It releases, for current coaches and new coaches. It releases March 18th. So what is that? Next Monday for customers. The live version of 21 Day Fix will begin on April 1st, followed by the 21 Day Fix Extreme. If you haven't seen in our team page, our team challenge group is going to start next Monday. So we're just going to kind of like roll into everything. So we'll do like the nutrition part for the first 2 weeks, then go into the 21 Day Fix on April 1st, and then roll into the 21 Day Fix Extreme. If you can't find the challenge group for that, just click on our team banner and the link will be right there. Apparel sale is 40% off for like all of like autumn stuff. So make sure you check that out. I'm pretty sure like most of the stuff sizes are kind of gone by now, but hey, might as well take a look. Last chance sale for Summit tickets, 165. After this, I think it goes up to like 175, and then it just kind of keeps going up as we get closer to Summit. For those of you that are going on the Success Club trip, what is it, in 2 weeks on the cruise, if you want to earn a photo op with one of the trainers, you must hit Success Club 20 by Friday. Right, by Friday. So that would be super exciting to get that. And then, I had baby brain and totally did not finish this part down here. But if you're going to Summit, they are doing breakdowns for your tracks depending upon what rank. So like in previous years, if you went, you used to have to like register for what track you wanted to. This year, they're doing it by what rank you are. And I think that's like super smart because we've all kind of been asking for that to happen anyways. So just kind of be aware, like depending on where you are rank wise, that's kind of what track you are going to go into. So that's kind of all the announcements that I have for tonight. We have a super special guest speaker, Amy Ecker. So weird saying your last name like that, even though you've been married for like, what, over a year?
Oh, well, September. So
Almost. So Amy's been a coach for like me almost for 6 years. She's a 7-star diamond, 2-time elite coach, 1-time premier, SE10 all-star legend, and she's a 6-figure earner. I posted in our team page, Amy, like, because of course, like, I went to your page and your mom had the most awesomest post ever like a few days ago. So I met Amy at Leadership, I think 2 or 3 years ago in California, and her family has the most amazing story. Correct me if I'm wrong, but her mom was the first one to sign up like forever ago, and their entire family are coaches and they're all freaking placed underneath of each other. So her mom made a post like last week. In 1 week, last week, they made all 5. So it's her sister, her brother, her mom, and her dad. And I think your aunt signed up too, right? And I'm sure you have other
that
family.
post was for the 5 of us, but
okay.
my couple cousins are coaches too.
So just like her 2 siblings, her mom and her dad made $25,000 in 1 week just by working this business together. Like that freaking blows my mind. And that gets me like all freaking giddy. And then I tell my brother, oops, sorry, buddy. Like you didn't hop on board soon enough. Anyways, I'm going to shoot it over to Amy. She's going to talk to us about kind of doing this for the long haul and seeing the big picture of what this can really do for your life. So Amy, thanks so much for hopping on with us.
Yeah, definitely. So she kind of shared a little bit of it, but I'll share my backstory. So my brother was actually the first one who started Beachbody. He was a CPA for Price Waterhouse, and he previously was an All-American lacrosse player in college. And so he was in really good shape in college and then got into being a CPA and gained 30 pounds within his first year or so. So kind of like that typical gained the weight and then just saw like working crazy hours as a CPA at home, like saw an infomercial for P90X and decided to just get it and do it at home because it would be more convenient than going to the gym and stuff. So he was doing that. And then I was actually only like 18 at the time. And my family, like the five of us, were visiting my brother in Boston, and he had lost the weight and was feeling good and signed up as a coach. He actually, so kind of like, well, he was kind of like a dream person. He did it on his own, got it off of an infomercial, and I think he posted about it on Facebook, like that he completed it or something. And one of his friends from college who played lacrosse with him saw it, and reached out to him and was like, you should become a coach. And he's like, what's that? So anyway, he signed up as a coach, and we all five of us were together, and he made us do P90X in his living room, which was not big. And there were five of us rolling around. And then he made us, actually there wasn't shake at the time, but I think he was like, all right, everyone's going to take a vitamin. There was like, there wasn't the products that we have now. And he was like, okay, everyone's going to sign up as a coach. And I was like, I'm 18 and like, don't have a job. I'm going to college, and like, I'm not signing up for like some coach thing. But he actually like just signed me up as one of his like controlled centers at the time. Didn't do anything with it. Unfortunately, right, like 6 months before I was finally ready to become a coach, he had transferred someone into my spot, which sucks. And he had asked me, he's like, are you sure you don't want to do this? And I was like, no, like I don't want to do it. And so I was in like the first coach on his weak leg and had a ton of volume built under me. And I had to re-sign up because I was an idiot. Canceled. But anyway, so kind of diving into when I got started, from that point on, like I started using the workouts a little bit. And like once Shakeology came out, like I would use it, but I would always be like, well, I don't want to like drink my meals. Like I was just very like not into it, but I would I would still like go back to it. I would always go back to it, but then I would go to workout classes, but then I would go back to doing Insanity or whatever. So it was actually, I was 1 year, and I kept like, anytime my brother would be like, are you sure you don't want to do this? Like my mom, whatever. I was like, no, like I'm getting a real job, like blah, blah, whatever. So I was 1 year into corporate world, working actually in the same building as my brother. And we met each other for lunch. And I just remember like kind of being at a point where I was like, oh, this is what I'm going to do for the next 40 years. Like sit in this cubicle, like, you know, work for somebody else, like get small pay raises. And like, I just was like, kind of like, this doesn't seem like that great. So anyway, I remember sitting outside with my brother, and I was like, I don't really want to go back into work. Like it's so nice out. And he was still working as a CPA. And I remember him like very vividly. It was a Thursday, which worked out for him. And he showed me his Beachbody paycheck. And I think at that time, he had made like $1,600 while he was working as a CPA, which is like a very demanding job. And he was like, well, you know, Amy, if you just like actually worked this business on the side, like you could get to a point where maybe you don't have to come into the office. And I was like, whatever. So he showed it to me, and I was like, holy shit. Sorry if there's kids on here. There is. I was like, you made $1,600 on top of your full-time job. And he was like, yes. And I was like, okay, what are you doing? Just tell me, like, show me what you're doing. And he literally just like pulled up Instagram and Facebook and like kind of quickly showed me like how he was adding new people and whatever. And I was like, that's all you're doing? And he was like, yeah, but I do it every day. Like all, you know, the tasks. And I just, from that day on, I was like, all right, sign me back up. I'm doing it. And it also worked out that I was doing the Ultimate Reset. I don't know if you guys have ever done that, but I was doing the Ultimate Reset and I was on like day 7 or something. So I was feeling really good, like in a good routine. And I was just went for it. So from that day forward, I just went for it. So I like hit diamond in 5 months. I replaced my full-time income in 2 years. I hit 6 figures within 3 years. And I just like never looked back. I was never someone who was in and out. And my brother really was in and out for the first couple of years. Saw him see like that success, and I wanted that, and I wanted to work towards it. So that's kind of my story behind the scenes. And I feel like the fact that it took me, I think it was almost 5 years from the time he signed up to the time that I like went in it for the coaching. I think that's kind of actually helped me because I think that I have patience with people. I know that this is a long-term business and a long-term model. And I know that there are other Amy's out there that are going to take 4+ years to sign up as a coach and be rock stars on my team. I know they're going to have to watch me, hopefully not as long, but I definitely have people who watch for a long time. So that's kind of my background story. And so I kind of want you guys to go back to before you enrolled as a coach, and how long did it take you to enroll as a customer or a coach from the first interaction that you had with your sponsor? Maybe some of you are unicorns. Like I call them unicorns when they sign up within like less than 3 months. Like you're a unicorn if you just decided to do this right off of the bat. Like I said, it took me about 5 years to, oh, you guys are quick. It took me about 5 years to sign up, but I went for it right away. So some of you are saying that you did it really quick. And I have some people who are like that as well. And I don't know any of your stories, but some sign up really quick, but then they're in and out, in and out, in and out. And there's the day you signed up, and there's the day that you actually start working your business and go all in. Mine was on the same day. I signed up and I went all in on the same day. So that is kind of interesting to look at. And then think about the coaches. If you guys already have coaches on your team, think about some of your rock star coaches, like the top producers on your team. How long did it take them from your first interaction to the time that they became a challenger, to the time that they enrolled as a coach, to the time where they got it and started running with it? And just kind of think of that. Like, what if your upline, like what if my brother just gave up? What if he decided to quit 6 months before I was ready? I'm one of his top producers on one of his legs. Like, what if he just decided to quit? And I also wanted to talk about this a little bit. I went through my challenge pack sales from last month, from February. I hit Success Club 32, which is 16 people. 3 of those people, our first interaction together was over a year ago. Over a year ago from when the first time we connected on social media and I said, thanks for the follow or whatever, to the time that they ordered. So 3 were over a year ago. Six of those people were 6+ months. 5 of them were 3+ months, and only 2 of them were less than 3 months. So the majority of my challenge pack sales in February was from work that I did 3+ months ago. Majority of it. I always say 3 to 6 months is kind of the sweet spot. You're going to have the people that take longer, like a year plus, and in my case, almost 5 years. But having less, like out of 16 people, only 2 were 3 months or less. So you kind of have to have that long-term mindset vision that the work, like I always tell my coaches this, like the work you're putting in right now, sure, you might get a couple unicorns, but majority of your people, like the majority of the work you're putting in right now is going to pay off in 3 to 6 months, whatnot, if not later. Also, like Rose was saying, I tallied up my earnings from last week and I made almost $4,000. And out of that $4,000, I think it was like 3,800 of it was residual income from team bonuses and matching bonuses, which is work that I put in 6 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago. Only 200 or so of it from that week was from commissions of selling things like that day. And even those sales that I made that week, like I said, a lot of them, like, the challenge packs that went through last week, I don't know exactly, but one could have been 3-6 months of work previously. So when you sit down to send your message new people, add new people, like you have to think about the long-term vision that you're putting in the work now for what you're going to earn later. So if you're not going to sit here and do it right now, then you're not going to earn that income and you're not going to bring on those new challengers and new coaches later. Okay, so this is actually an analogy from Keith Callahan. He has a really good book if you guys have read it or haven't read it. Oh my God, what is it? Built to Last is his new book. It's really good. I don't think he talked about this in there, but he was a guest speaker on one of our team calls a while ago. And he had this amazing analogy of having 200 solo cups flipped over on a table. And he was saying that of those 200, like let your 5 gold chips, your 5 rock star coaches are under those 200 cups, let's say. And some people get lucky, not necessarily lucky, but they find those unicorns quickly and they flip the first 5, or maybe they flip the first one and there's nothing there, but then they flip the second one and they get somebody who orders a challenge pack, and then they flip the third and the fourth and then the fifth and they find someone. So they're excited because they're having that stuff kind of quickly. Whereas other people, like it might be those last 5 cups that they flip and they're probably going to quit. But if they have that long-term vision that I know it's inevitable that those people are out there, then they'll put in the work to, and they know that those people are still out there and it doesn't matter when that happens. And some of your cups are going to be sticky. You're going to go to flip it and it won't flip, and you put it back down, and then you come back to it 3 months later and it won't come up, but it's there. It's just not completely flipping. And then in 6 months you go to flip it and it's ready. So kind of having that vision of putting in the work and knowing that it's inevitable if you keep showing up. I was a really sticky cup. I was using the programs and the products, and it was in my ear. Like it was kind of in the back of my head, but I had kind of like fears and just different things going on. It wasn't the right time for me, but my brother and my mom kept flipping that sticky cup until it was ready. Also think about college. Like, I don't know how many of you went to college, but you go to college for 4 years and you pay a lot of money, or your parents do, or someone, and you don't get paid a dime of that back until you graduate. And hopefully you get a good job, and then if you're paying off those student loans, like it's going to take a while. You have to think of your business like that too. Like you can earn 6 figures in less than 4 years of consistent hard work. And that doesn't necessarily happen with a 4-year degree. So if you kind of went into this with the mindset of, even just taking 2 classes, like if you're working a full-time job and you were taking 2 classes and you paid the money to take those 2 courses to get your master's or whatever it is, how consistent would you be with that? Would you want to just get an F and fail that class? No, because you're investing that money into working towards your master's, and you have to kind of think of your coaching business as that same thing. Because I know for myself, I was working full-time when I started this, and majority of people do. So you have to kind of keep that mindset that it's just like taking a couple classes and investing that money and time into it. And you're taking those like if you're taking classes for your master's part-time, you're not going to reap the benefits of that for a while. And it's the same with coaching, it's even better with coaching because you can earn some money while you're doing that, and the investment is way smaller. So keep that in mind too for mindset. And then just a couple of things, you have to, so that's kind of the mindset piece of it. But then the other piece of it is like doing the actual work behind the mindset. You can't just have the mindset, you have to actually put in the work, and vice versa. So you have to come up with some sort of system for tracking. Some people use Asana, some people want pen and paper. I use Google Sheets, and I've been using it for literally the past 6 years, or before when it was just Excel. So I just use that, and I track, like I have a follow-up list, like people who, let me just read it. Let's see what I have. So I have people that I'm in mid-conversation with on Instagram. I just jot like that they're, we're talking back and forth a little bit. I immediately jot their name down on a list. I have people that are interested, but not right now. And I jot down, maybe check back next month or whatever. Like I have a list of those people. And then I have my list of people to follow up with that, said no. They said no, like they're not interested or whatever, like at least got some response from them. So I have those 3 lists there, like my and it's in that order of how many are on that list. Like my mid-conversation list right now is 25 people. My interested but not right now is about 50. And then my check back next month list is in the 300s. And it's not just for next month. I have some from this month that I need to work on for March, and then I have some on there for April too. But you're going to get more no's, obviously. So just keeping some sort of system for tracking who you're talking to, your challengers, all of that. But I don't understand when people are like, I don't know who to follow up with. Like I always have a list of people to follow up with. Like it is an ongoing list of people to follow up with, my high priority people that I'm in mid conversation with, my next list of people who've been wavering back and forth, and then my people who said no, but they at least responded. And then I'm constantly, so that's definitely one thing, is just tracking. The next thing is, remember that people aren't going to say yes if you aren't showing up on social media like a badass consistently. When you go to follow up with people over and over, they aren't going to know what you're talking about if you don't show up consistently on social media. And they're also not going to find you as someone who's reliable if you aren't consistently showing up on social media either. You kind of have to be repetitive and share your routine and get really good at rewording your story. I don't know how many times I've posted like kind of the thing that I told you about my story of sitting in my desk and like thinking about this next 40 years. And like, that's just not something that I wanted to do for myself. Like, I've repurposed that story so many times, just rewording it and using different photos over the past 6 years, because one, people need to see the same thing over and over and over again until they're ready to commit. And there's always new eyes on your pictures on your page. So I can post something that I posted maybe 6 months ago, and they might not scroll back through 6 months to see that post or whatnot. So just getting repetitive of sharing your story of why you became a coach, but also your story of, or I feel like a lot of people get in the comfort zone of sharing just like their transformation and the fitness and the health side of things, but don't forget about sharing your coaching aspect of things too, because there are people out there that maybe that they're going to workout classes, or they're in great shape, or that's not what attracted me necessarily. Like, yeah, I was using the workouts and drinking Shakeology, but that's not necessarily what made me want to become a coach and help other people. Like, yeah, I liked the shake. I liked working on my own fitness, but I wasn't like, oh my God, I want to help other people with their health and fitness. Like, that's not what like drew me into it initially. Like, I saw the opportunity to free myself from a desk, and I wanted to help other people do that. I wanted to do it for myself. I wanted to help other people do that and use this platform with the products that I already loved. So you have to kind of share both aspects of it. So being repetitive of what you're saying, but you can't speak to the same people over and over and over again necessarily. You have to be adding to your network and inviting. You have to, let me just see, good chunk. I'm looking at my notes. Oh yeah. So like I said, like, you have to keep adding new things, because new eyes are always going to be coming up and showing up on your page. And if you only are talking to like the 300 people that you knew from high school, it's going to be hard to progress past a certain point. So just adding to your network, and then having conversations daily, just conversations. I see two different scenarios sometimes with my coaches who are struggling. One, I'll see my coaches posting consistently. They're in every group, and they're not seeing the success that they want. And I can't see what they're doing behind the scenes. So to me, it's like, oh, they're posting, their Insta stories look awesome. Everything looks great. But when we dig deeper, it's like, are you adding new people? Are you inviting? Are you following up? Like, what are your numbers? That is like a red flag when they're actually not doing that. And that's really hard for us as coaches to see what our coaches are doing behind the scenes. So making sure that you're not only showing up publicly, but also behind the scenes, doing the new ads, inviting and following up. So yeah, I have tons of conversations going, and I am not someone who's like super pushy. I don't want to convince people to do this. You just have to keep showing up. You have to keep reaching out. You have to keep believing. You have to keep in touch with all the old people that you've been following or who are following you. Continue to make new friends, but don't be desperate. There's so many people out there that could use this, and there's nothing worse than someone being like too overbearing to you, because that will give them like a negative kind of like, I don't know, like so you have to just keep planting the seeds with people. Like, I was talking to someone, and yes, I overcome objections of cost and things like that. But I totally understand. I totally get it. Once you try to overcome it and say, I'm always here for you. Like, I run these groups monthly. Like, I would love to get you in when it's the right time for you. And then you can keep being that little voice that keeps popping back up each month and saying, hey, I know last month wasn't work for you, you had, different financial obligations, I just wanted to pop back in and let you know that XYZ and see if now would be a better time. So I just kind of keep in touch with people and know that not every month is going to be the right time for that person. So keeping in touch is huge. You aren't chasing people. You would love for them to be a part of a team, but you can do this with or without that individual person. Another thing is just being excited and enthusiastic and passionate about what you're talking about. You're giving a gift. You are not a burden on people. And yes, be real and show your vulnerability and be relatable on Instagram, but talking into your phone on Instagram stories, it's not your therapist. No one wants a sob story every day. Like, yes, share your message, but have a message behind it and show proof of progress. People want to join you when they see that you have a solution to their problem, not when you're just like in the shit all the time with them. So it's people love to see progress. It doesn't have to be perfection, but people do need to see progress towards that problem that they're having. So getting your fitness and your nutrition in line is a huge thing of not being up and down, but being vulnerable at the same time. Like if you check out my page, like I was open that I kind of had like a huge slip up last year and gained back some weight and felt crappy, but I like recommitted and I reshared that journey of getting back to a place where I felt really good and confident. And I feel like that was relatable to people, but I also just like had a message behind it that like I got back to where I wanted to be and kind of sharing that with people. And then the last kind of thing that I have on here is just urgency and deadlines with your Insta stories and your posts too. So I just talk about like for me, my next group is starting April 8th, and I'll consistently talk about it in my Insta stories, everything that they'll get. And then I'll just share like a visual of like the spots that I have open and like the names of people who have already taken the spots and the spots that I have left. I feel like that just kind of shows like urgency, that there's not a lot of space left in it, and talking about when the deadline is for it. Reaching out to people who like your Instagram story, who are watching your Instagram stories consistently, is a huge way of where I get my challenge pack sales, is just consistently seeing who's showing up on there and who I can interact with and the people that are liking my posts. But like I said, I'm continually adding new faces on my page so that I always have new people to reach out to, and I always have people to follow up with that have been liking my stuff. So that's kind of all that I have, Rose, and if you have any questions.
Love it, love it. So, of course, I wrote down some notes. And one of the second last thing that you said was just be excited. So I was talking to a coach who's a coach now, who was invited by two different people to the coach opportunity. And I asked her, I said, what was the difference? Like, why did you choose one person over the other person? And she goes, it was their excitement. It's not that they knew more information. It's not that, they knew all the superfoods and Shakeology or blah, 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 or they had like 6-pack abs. That they were freaking excited about this. They were like, holy crap, like you have to like join me with this. Like, and I think the coach that she went with was kind of like a newer coach, but she was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but like our team's rocking this. Like you have to do this with us. Like it's going to be so much fun. Like, come be a part of this. And that's what that excitement is, what like lit her up and was like, yeah, you know what? Like I do want to do that. And she didn't even realize what the other person was talking about was the same thing, because she just felt that energy, that positive energy. And that's what attracted people to her. And then treat this like $1 million business, guys. I know it's so easy. And I'm sure we get price objections. I still get price objections all the time. Like, oh, this is a lot of money. Dude, if you can earn 6 figures in, Amy, what did it take you, 2 years?
3.
It took me 3 years to earn 6 figures. Why wouldn't you? Because you're not putting out $10,000 where you're like, holy crap, I got to make that back. Like, that's why I feel like I wish that like it cost more to get into this, because then people would be more invested. But we have to rewire our brain to look at like, this is a small investment to get into a huge business. If we're willing to put in the time now, the payoff is going to be in those 3, 4, 5 years, you know, because those years are going to go by regardless whether you do this or not. Like 6 years for me, and I'm sure for Amy, have went by like in a blink of a freaking eye. And I'm like, damn, like I'm so happy I did it 6 years ago, because now like I'm really like living my life and I got to get ready for a freaking baby and like all this crazy stuff. Like I'm so happy I took the time then to build something that has that long-term, you know, residual income where, you know what, if I don't show up every single day right now, like it's okay because I kind of already worked on it a few years ago. Oh, and then one last thing, and then we can get to questions, is yes, in this business, you're going to get way more no's than you're going to get yeses. It's just a part of this business. And you just have to understand that it wasn't that Amy hated her brother. Maybe sometimes she did, but it just wasn't the right time for her. So be okay when people tell you no. Don't take it personally, but you still have to show up to invite them in a month, to invite them in a year. One of my coaches, Christina, I love you, girl. She said, poor Rose, it took me 5.5 years because I knew she would be amazing at this. So I kept asking her for 5.5 years until she told me to piss off, and she didn't. And I'm glad she didn't. So whether it takes somebody, you know, like it took me like a week to sign up after my coach invited me. But some people are worth the wait. So you have to be willing to wait as well. All right. I'm going to be quiet because I think there are, Carrie did have a question for you, Amy. What is the best way you have found to grow your network?
So I run my business 100% through Instagram. I actually don't even really post on Facebook that often at all. I use Facebook for like groups and stuff, but I do everything on Instagram. So I focus my attention on there. And as far as expanding, like I just go through and find, like I'll go through, like I live in Portland, Maine, so I'll search different Portland, Maine things, stores that are local, restaurants, just different activities I'll find, and I'll just go through and see who else is liking that stuff, and I'll just add new people. So I add new people, not every day, but like I would say at least like 100 new people a week. And then out of those people, so for me, and then the next Monday I go through every Monday and I see who my new followers are, and I just reach out to those new followers and start conversations with them. And then my goal is that they either like something of mine, or they message me about it, or they're consistently watching my Instagram stories, or vote on a poll or something, and I can organically invite them to something. But if not, I do just go through and invite people, kind of like cold invite after about 2 weeks of them following me. So that's kind of really all that I do. I just add new people, reach out to everyone that's a new follower, and then I hope that they organically, it can come up, or I invite them in 2 weeks, and then I do one follow-up with people if they don't respond to the invite, and then if they say no, they get moved to my follow-up list for next month. If they are interested but not right now, they get added to my interested but not right now list. If they say what are the details or whatever, then they get added to my mid-conversation list. So that's kind of like all that I do. And then I use the app Cleaner to kind of filter out people that aren't following me back. So I run that, not all the time, like probably once a month. I'll go through and do that. So like right now I'm pretty heavy. I'm following 1,500 people, and if I ran it, it would probably be under 1,000 that are following me back from there. And then I just make sure that usually like 3 times a day for like, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, I'll just actually go through my feed and like and comment on the people that I'm following. So in hopes that they'll like something of mine, or if they weren't following me yet, then they will follow me. But yeah, that's kind of where I build. Yeah, definitely not everyone's going to follow you back. I would say it's like a small, like yeah, I wouldn't say it's that many.
And what I love about Amy too is like, I don't want to, this isn't, and I think I said this like when you were on our team call like last year, you're a normal, like average person. Like
Yeah.
you don't do all this flashy stuff. You know, there's some coaches that are very popular and like, you know, Beachbody famous. But like, I just love your authenticity of just being you and being simple and being, you know, I know that probably sounds so mean, but like, you don't overcomplicate this. Like, and that's why it's like, like if you just keep it simple and just be consistent. And maybe if you can answer this question, like when times get tough, like when you got married or when, you know, like, you know, when life happens and we can't control those things, like how did you stay in this?
Long-term vision of it, not like that everyone's like, if you just had something go on in your life, majority of you, maybe you'll take a couple days off of work, but you don't really take like a whole month off of work, right? Like unless you're having a baby or there's something extremely significant. I haven't had anything other than I haven't had a baby, but I'm just saying like there's nothing but in my life that like I would need to take like 6 months off of a full-time job. So like if you wouldn't need to take off time from your full-time job, why would you need to take time off from your part-time job that's going to give you the freedom to maybe retire you from your full-time job and stuff? So you kind of have to use that same mentality.
I've never heard of it said that way. So good. Like you wouldn't, you'd get fired and that would be it.
Exactly. Like I don't know many people, like I know a lot of people who've had a lot of rough stuff in their life and they don't just quit their job necessarily. Like they don't just take 6 months off of their job or a month off of their job or even a week. Like I know people who've lost their sister or, you know, a parent or something. And yeah, they take some time off of work, but it's not like a 6 month leave or anything crazy like that. So you kind of have to just have that same mentality that everyone's going to have bad stuff happen in their life. Like if you wouldn't leave your full-time job then you shouldn't leave this.
I love it. Anybody else want to ask any questions? You can unmute yourself or type it up in the chat. Going once. Going twice. All right. Amy, thanks so much as always. It's a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for showing up. We will see you in the team page and next week. Have a great night.
Bye.
Yeah.